at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland, we heard top executives and economists about the state of the US and global economy. Here's what they had to say.
The World Economic Forum, WEF, stands as a unique entity within the global landscape, distinct from institutions like the IMF, World Bank, or WTO due to its non-governmental status and absence of direct operational power. Despite lacking authoritative clout, its annual summit in Davos, Switzerland, garners attention from a constellation of influential figures spanning economics, politics, business, media, and more. This convergence in a quaint alpine town seemingly devoid of international significance begs the question, what motivates these powerful individuals to convene at an event fraught with controversy since its inception? Welcome to Live Economic News. Today, we're diving into a rather peculiar phenomenon unfolding in Switzerland's economy. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more. Critics argue that the WEF, rather than assuaging skepticism, often exacerbates it through its messaging and actions. The organization's propensity to champion contentious ideas, delivered in manners deemed provocative, misleading, or counterproductive, has fueled suspicions of ulterior motives.
Well, the transition to a greener economy is a central theme at this year's World Economic Forum. US climate envoy John Kerry kicked off discussions.
Such perceptions feed into narratives portraying Davos as a clandestine gathering of nefarious elites orchestrating global dominance, a notion further stoked by terms like the Great Reset employed in WEF discourse. While the allure of sensational conspiracies is undeniable, the sober reality may prove even more disconcerting. Understanding the WEF's ascent to prominence, its professoral, and the nuanced critiques it elicits is imperative. Technology, hailed for democratizing innovation, paradoxically offers a conduit for malicious exploitation, underscoring the need for vigilance amid rapid digital advancement. Unpacking the WEF's trajectory unveils a complex interplay of factors, including its ability to convene diverse stakeholders and capitalize on emergent digital tools. Yet, scrutiny reveals genuine concerns often eclipsed by sensationalism, prompting reflection on the organization's true impact and accountability in navigating contemporary global challenges. In today's digital landscape, a multitude of actors capitalize on illicitly obtained personal information, ranging from phone numbers to home addresses and private emails, selling them to the highest bidder. This alarming trend underscores the necessity for proactive measures to safeguard one's privacy. Amidst discussions surrounding the World Economic Forum, WEF, and its contemporaries such as the World Bank, International Monetary Fund, IMF, World Trade Organization, WTO, and the United Nations, UN, parallels emerge despite the distinct nature of their operations. While each entity conducts independent economic research, furnishes counsel to policymakers, and employs a cadre of economists, their roles in the global arena may not always be readily apparent. Nonetheless, they collectively serve as impartial arbiters, facilitating discourse and cooperation among sovereign nations. The World Economic Forum, WEF, distinguishes itself from entities like the World Bank through its origins and funding structure. Unlike institutions formed by governments, such as the World Bank, which emerged from a coalition of 44 nations post-World War II and is sustained by contributions from its 189 member countries, the WEF's genesis is more modest. Established initially as the European Management Forum by Klaus Schwab, an engineer and business professor, its early objective was to convene Western European business executives in Davos, Switzerland, with support from a grant by the European Commission.
Allow Swiss companies to operate following Swiss regulatory structures and rules, and in Switzerland they will allow British-based companies to operate following UK.
Initially, the forum primarily focused on disseminating management practices from economically successful nations like the USA to their European counterparts. These early gatherings resembled typical management seminars, lacking the global macroeconomic focus that characterizes the WEF today. However, over time, Schwab expanded the forum's purview to encompass broader economic concerns and invited policymakers capable of affecting change on a global scale. This evolution saw the WEF emerge as a platform where leaders from various sectors converged to address pressing global challenges. Unlike the World Bank, which primarily channels funds into developing economies for infrastructural and developmental projects, the WEF operates as a nexus for dialogue and collaboration among global stakeholders.
So over the years, we've had the 0% interest rates, and that channeled capital into the advanced economies up at the top. And now the governments are all borrowing huge amounts.
While the World Bank's mandate revolves around providing loans for economic development, the WEF's objectives are more fluid, adapting to the evolving landscape of global economic and social dynamics. Furthermore, the WEF's funding model diverges from traditional government-backed institutions. Instead of relying on contributions from member states, the WEF sustains itself through partnerships, membership fees, and sponsorships from corporations and organizations worldwide. This financial independence affords the WEF a degree of agility and flexibility in pursuing its initiatives and agendas, often revolving around public-private partnerships and innovative approaches to address multifaceted global challenges. Policymakers, often lacking an economic background, typically hail from legal spheres, necessitating reliance on economic advisors to grasp the ramifications of their decisions. This knowledge gap underscores the significance of platforms like the Davos Conference, where key decision-makers can glean insights from economists worldwide. The value proposition lies in the opportunity for policymakers to study both successful and failed economic strategies implemented across diverse global contexts. For instance, contrasting the century-long industrialization journey of the UK with South Korea's rapid ascent within 2 decades highlights the efficacy of knowledge sharing in accelerating economic development.
The World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland is set to address the theme of rebuilding trust with an emphasis on global connection for a thriving future.
Today, technological and economic expertise traverses borders seamlessly, rendering platforms like Davos potentially potent agents of positive change. However, the efficacy of such gatherings hinges on their real-world impact. Despite the World Economic Forum's insistence that the Davos Summit isn't a traditional conference but rather a series of meetings, the distinction appears semantic. Nevertheless, the forum's activities extend beyond the annual summit, encompassing diverse initiatives such as economic research, advocacy campaigns like the Trillion Tree Campaign, and recognition programs honoring individuals making positive global contributions. The financing mechanisms supporting these endeavors remain multifaceted, involving contributions from corporate sponsors, member fees, and partnerships. These financial structures afford the World Economic Forum the autonomy to drive its agenda and initiatives, transcending the confines of a traditional governmental institution. Consequently, the forum wields considerable influence in shaping global economic discourse and fostering collaborative efforts to address pressing socio-economic challenges. The World Economic Forum, WEF, relies primarily on corporate partnerships rather than governmental funding to sustain its operations. Companies eager to participate in the Davos meetings and engage with the forum's initiatives must bear substantial membership fees, which can exceed $600,000 annually, alongside individual admission costs. Despite its nonprofit status, the WEF necessitates financial support, leading to its dependency on corporate sponsorship. However, this financial model engenders a fundamental dilemma. While the WEF positions itself as an intellectual hub facilitating candid exchanges of ideas, its extensive roster of corporate partners spanning various industries globally raises concerns regarding its ability to maintain impartiality. The forum's annual meetings, historically emphasizing topics like sustainable capitalism, environmentalism, renewable energy, and social entrepreneurship, aspire to foster constructive discourse. Yet, the omnipresence of multinational corporations in its sponsorship lineup presents a challenge to its stated objective of facilitating unbiased dialogue. Acknowledging the delicate balance between financial sustainability and maintaining intellectual integrity, parallels can be drawn with the editorial independence upheld by entities like E, presumably referring to a hypothetical media organization. Just as he must navigate potential conflicts of interest when accepting sponsorships for its content, the WEF grapples with reconciling its ideals with the realities of corporate patronage. Moreover, the WEF's credibility may face scrutiny when hosting discussions on topics conflicting with the interests of its corporate sponsors. Instances where discussions on transitioning away from fossil fuels occur in the backdrop of sponsorship from oil giants like BP, Shell, and Aramco inevitably prompt questions regarding the forum's autonomy and capacity for impartial discourse. This juxtaposition underscores the nuanced interplay between financial sustenance and ideological integrity within the realm of global forums like the World Economic Forum. Despite the World Economic Forum's purported advocacy against the interests of its corporate sponsors, these companies continue to support it. This paradox raises questions about the forum's effectiveness and the motivations behind corporate sponsorship. One possibility is that the forum's advocacy lacks real impact, rendering its mission of global betterment mere greenwashing, a superficial display of environmental concern without tangible action. Alternatively, corporations may derive other benefits from their involvement, outweighing any misalignment with their interests. Critics further highlight the perceived hypocrisy among Davos attendees, who espouse ideals of a green economy and sustainable capitalism while engaging in conspicuous displays of wealth, such as flying in on private jets. What are your thoughts on the intriguing developments unfolding in Switzerland's economy? We hope you found this discussion informative and thought-provoking. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel for more updates, and share your thoughts in the comments below.